Since the dawn of time, or at least the dawn of creation for planes, people have always tried to bring the craziest things along with them when going on a trip. Today we're going to be looking at 10 of those crazy things found by airport security. I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss number 1. It's a story that's fit for a movie. Number 10. Snakes on a plane. Almost. Officials at the TSA checkpoint at the Newark Liberty International Airport were having a pretty much normal and boring day when they were suddenly approached by a child, reporting something out of the ordinary on the floor of the airport. When they went to have a look, they got quite the shock when they saw a black, slithering animal that was around 15 inches long. The black snake had a bright yellow ring around its neck, and it was later identified to be a ring-necked snake. The officers quickly closed off the checkpoint and trapped the animal under a bin. While TSA officials are quite used to keys, wallets, or even gloves being accidentally left at the checkpoint, this was the first time someone left their pet snake behind. The weirdest thing about this story, however, is not the fact that someone tried to board a passenger plane with a snake. Honestly, what's weird is the fact that it's not illegal to bring a snake on a flight, as long as the airline agrees to it, and it's presumably not venomous. Number 9. A cannonball. Back in 2012 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a Transportation Security Administration employee found something particularly strange in a checked bag. Sitting in a diver's suitcase encased in coral was a late 18th century cannonball. Now, you might not think a cannonball that's been underwater for several centuries and is just good for accumulating coral at this point would be dangerous, but the TSA disagrees. It was determined that the coral-covered cannonball was explosively viable, which triggered an evacuation of the checked baggage area and a visit from a TSA explosive specialist and a Broward County bomb tech. Cannonballs found on the ocean floor can retain their explosives and have been known to detonate on their own. The bomb tech took possession of the item for further identification, diagnostics, and safe disposal. A word to all tourists out there who want to bring something unique home as a souvenir: please, for your own well-being, avoid bringing home something that can potentially explode while you're on a flight. It's pretty much going to be a bad day from that point on for you, and everybody else. Number 8. 200 tarantulas and then some. Quite understandably, airport security is quite strict about transporting animals across countries. The threat of an invasive species wiping out indigenous species of animals is quite real, and has tragically happened in the past. Apparently, though, nobody told this couple about it. Security officers at an Amsterdam airport found over 200 live tarantulas in the luggage of a German couple. The pair are thought to have been waiting for a connecting flight on their way back from Peru when customs officials at Schiphol Airport noticed the spiders during a routine baggage scan. When they opened the suspicious-looking case, 200 live tarantulas, along with grasshoppers, millipedes, and beetles, which the couple had put into little boxes, began to escape. This is starting to sound like one of those budget sci-fi parodies they keep making, like Atlantic Rim or Snakes on a Train. Thank whatever higher power above, though, none of the creepy crawlies were able to escape. According to officials, all of them were successfully captured. The couple were then subsequently charged for transporting live animals without a permit. It's not really known what the couple had planned to do with their exotic acquisitions. A spokeswoman for the finance ministry added that Amsterdam custom officials had never encountered a collection of that size and kind before. Number 7. Tropical fish. Sharon Naismith thought she could get away with it. But unfortunately, TSA officials smelled something fishy. Well, I hate myself right now. And she was caught. Yeah, I went there. I'm very ashamed of it, actually. Our would-be smuggler just got off a plane from Singapore when she was caught. Officials became suspicious of her when they distinctly heard what they described as flipping noises coming from her skirt. She was searched, and sure enough, they were both surprised and baffled by what they discovered. Naismith was wearing a custom-made apron under her skirt, and attached to it were 15 plastic water-filled bags holding a total of 51 live tropical fish. Most of the fish confiscated were different species of catfish, but one bag contained a sought-after species of arowana. For context, arowana is an extremely endangered species and has a market value of up to $30,000. How she was able to smuggle the fish out of Singapore is still unknown. Charges were filed against her and she eventually pled guilty to the crime of importing regulated wildlife. She was sentenced to 9 months of community service, and the fish, of course, were confiscated and probably sent to live out the rest of their lives in an aquarium. Number 6. A human skull. A German professor was arrested at Rome's Fiumicino airport because he had something very unusual in his bag: an almost complete human skull. He was on his way home to Dusseldorf when the gruesome cargo was discovered in his bag. The professor said that he purchased the remains at a market stall for $40, or 40 pounds, or 40 francs. I don't really know the conversion rate here, actually. He even described it as well polished despite its lacking a lower jaw. He further told the authorities that he bought the skull for scientific purposes. He was at first quite confused on why he was being accosted. It seemed that he was quite unaware that what he was doing was illegal, and he was quite shocked as well when he was informed by the police that he was going to be charged for illegal possession of human remains. After the professor's arrest, the skull was turned over to Italy's Scientific Police Squad. Yes, such a thing does exist, in order to determine its origin. Number 5. A seal's severed head? Oh my god, that poor seal! I don't know what it did to deserve it, but from one kind of skull we move on to another one that isn't human this time. TSA officers at the Logan International Airport confiscated a severed seal's head from the luggage of a biology professor. When asked where he got the head from, the professor said that he found a seal carcass while walking on Revere Beach. He thought the head would be useful for his lesson, so he cut it off and decided to take it back with him to Denver. Oh god. Like most people on this list that don't intentionally try to smuggle items into an airplane, the professor was unaware that what he was doing was illegal. The fact that federal wildlife laws prohibit the removal of body parts from a dead animal is unknown to him is quite possible though. I mean, do you know that such a law exists before now? Anyway, it seems that the penalty for violating this law is quite steep. This old professor could be facing fines of up to $20,000 and could also be in prison for up to a year. I'm just gonna draw this conclusion now. Professors are terrible people. And may have an obsession with different kinds of skulls. I don't know. Just me. Number 4. Not your ordinary chocolate. Drug smugglers have been making creative ways in order to smuggle illegal drugs in and out of a country. It's a good thing that custom agents are also continuously honing their skills in drug detection. If not, this ingenious way of transporting drugs might have worked. After a random baggage search at JFK International Airport, officials found an unusual number of chocolate bars inside a man's bag, immediately arousing suspicion. It turned out that Edney Barco, the owner of the bag, didn't have a sweet tooth at all. He was a drug smuggler, and the chocolate wrappers didn't contain chocolate. They were filled with heroin. All in all, 11 pounds of heroin were confiscated by the authorities, which had an estimated street value of $400,000. The drugs, of course, were confiscated and turned over to the federal government. Barco was then arrested and charged with the attempted smuggling of controlled substances. If found guilty, and I think that it's obvious that he will be, he faces a 10-year prison sentence. Number 3. A Chihuahua. A sneaky Chihuahua made it all the way to the LaGuardia airport in its owner's luggage, only to have the trip spoiled by the Transportation Security Administration. Jeez guys, come on. Airport security found the dog inside a checked bag at LaGuardia International Airport and safely returned it to its owner. The owner, who was unnamed, said she was unaware that the dog was in her suitcase and was quite surprised when she was told by the authorities of what they found in her bag. Apparently, her dog knew that she was going on a trip and didn't want to get left behind. So she snuck into the suitcase without the owner noticing and was locked inside it. Man, who knows what would have happened to the poor dog if she wasn't discovered by the TSA. Luggage storage areas in the airplanes aren't the most comfortable of places after all. And she was also running the risk of getting crushed if the bag was stowed under other bags. This story does have a happy ending though, at least. The tiny dog was reunited with her owner that she loves dearly enough to risk a perilous cross-country flight trapped in a tiny suitcase. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's best pick was submitted by a subscriber, and I've got to admit it's kind of a strange one. If you encounter a photo or a video online and you want us to help you find out more about it, send it on over and we might even use it in a future video. Number 2. Grenades. Our photo shows a woman going through the airport security, and by looking at the x-ray scan, you will immediately be able to see something out of the ordinary. Admittedly, the photo reminded me of Michael Bolton and the rumored gerbil, but I digress. In the x-ray, you will see an unmistakable silhouette of a hand grenade tucked inside, well, for lack of a better term, somewhere where the sun don't shine. PG channel, can't say much more. It is true that grenades as well as various other weapons have been found by airport security, but all of them in luggage, not in some human cavity. That'd be a little uncomfortable for the person there. One would assume that people knew better to carry weapons into a flight, but you'll be surprised to know that there are hundreds of cases of people trying to bring grenades and other explosives into planes. There was one instance when a passenger at the Austin Bergstrom International Airport in Australia tried to bring a grenade in a carry-on bag. The grenade was inert, but it looks quite real. And even if the passenger had no malicious intent, it only takes one person to see it on a plane and start a panic. So people, use your head. If it looks like a weapon, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. Leave it at home. Or if it's a severed seal's head. Kinda creepy.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. A dead body. Ew. Don't get me wrong, dead bodies are allowed in commercial flights, but sending a deceased body across the country or even overseas requires a lot of preparation and permits. The process is simple, but some people still think that getting the proper permit is too much of a hassle, so some people who find themselves in the situation wherein they really need to fly a body, they try to do it in creative ways. In 2010, 91-year-old Kurt Will Durant was traveling from Berlin to Manchester with his wife and daughter. Mr. Durant was confined to a wheelchair and suffering from Alzheimer's. He was also wearing dark sunglasses due to a recent eye infection. As the women were trying to check in at the terminal, airport workers noticed that the elderly man was slumped over in his wheelchair. The women claimed he was fine and that he always sleeps like that. Authorities didn't buy it, especially when they touched him and felt his ice-cold skin. Wonder if they got their inspiration from the movie Weekend at Bernie's. Which crazy thing have you tried and failed to get past airport security? Hopefully, nothing illegal with you all. You're all good people. Let us know in the comment section down below. Want to watch more crazy videos? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. As always, everybody, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.